Hello, it's Cameron here. Thought I'd make another video just talking about stimulus checks. But other than that, it's been a busy week. Had my birthday. Been really busy with the startup I've been working at as we're just finishing up the first stage of seed funding round. Also got my first subscriber, which was massive, big celebrations for me. Hopefully it's not just my mum. But yeah, it's good. Anyway, so let's get into it. So stimulus checks. I've been seeing quite a lot of articles and talk about these recently, so I thought I'd make a video. Um, this is in the US as well. So stimulus checks likely in the next recession, says one expert, though right now would be a terrible time, and I think this summarises my opinions on it pretty perfectly. So inflation, the last inflation figure is over 9%. Um, when inflation's this high, you want to slow demand and increase supply. If you're doing stimulus checks in the middle of when inflation's rocketing, it's just going to increase demand further. Inflation's going to go even higher. So yeah, completely agree with this. But yeah, I'll talk more about why I think there will be stimulus checks coming in 2023. Alongside that, so I know inflation's been going rampant, and I think that's a lot. There's still a lot to do with China still having sort of lockdowns and their zero COVID policy. Um, and sort of that's sort of linked with the same sort of supply slash demand thing. But if I switch over to talk about the US economy, it's been quite good the last month or so. So I think I remember talking about a couple of weeks ago, sort of about bear markets and whether we've already gone through a recession, that sort of thing. And you can see the last month has gone at 4.37%. So a lot of the articles I was looking at was basically deciding whether this is like a dead cat bounce in the bear market. So whether this is like just going to be a short upward before we go down further, or whether we've already sort of hit the bottom and we're starting to recover now. I'm not really sure which side I'm on. I mean, it really depends. I mean, I guess it always depends on the inflation figures, but a lot of the articles I've seen think inflation. I mean, I said this last month, but inflation peaked. And the 9% inflation figure is going to be the peak. And I'd probably think that's probably the case. I mean, I said that last month, so we'll see. I'd be impartial to it being either. But yeah, anyway, more on stimulus checks. So I do believe that if we are receiving a recession in 2023, the US, if the US does get a recession in 2023, then they will get stimulus checks. So I was looking at the sort of major periods of lower demand in the US, which was 2002, 2008, and 2020. So I was looking at those were the periods where they did do stimulus checks in the US and or federal stimulus checks, and all three of those periods were of like sort of economic turmoil and periods of low demand, which is why I wouldn't be surprised if they do it again this year. Um, so yeah, so regarding the federal one, I think if because I'm still partial, or I definitely think we're going to see a recession in sort of probably quarter two or three of 2023. I think by the end of 2023 it will start to go up, and I don't think it will be a big recession either. But these are some of the states which are have either put in laws to give stimulus checks, or so is it independent federal government. So yeah, California, Colorado, Delaware, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois. You can see a bunch of these, and these are like so this was passed in July. So I think I've mentioned this before, but I really don't. I think this is a terrible idea because as I just mentioned, the US is got like serious inflationary issues, and if you start throwing like money at them, it's not going to make the problem better. It makes it worse. Like people think, oh, economic turmoil. I think this is just I don't know. I seriously disagree with this sort of policy, but yeah, I just think it's going to make inflation a lot worse. And yeah. Anyway, so yeah, if we look at initial jobless claims, and we can also see that so this is the 4-week moving average, but you can see it's starting to move up after sort of, going down recently. So yeah, I do think that the jobless claims will start to go up even more as the Fed continues to increase rate hikes, and we see slowdowns from major companies. Like I think I mean, probably a bad example actually, but like Goldman Sachs really struggled. I think a report came out earlier this week saying about how they're going to be making job cuts. I mean, I don't really expect many of them to be looking for job claims, but yeah. So that's just sort of an example. I think another graph I've got is here, which kind of illustrates it better. I can't remember the article I found it from because I just took a picture of it. It's some Labour Department document, but yeah, you can see that it's starting to creep up, and I do expect it to creep up further down the road. I mean, I do feel like a lot of what I talk about on this is around interest rates and that sort of thing. And I hope you're excited to hear a little bit more. So there's the Fed meeting later this week, and I think it will be 75 basis points from the articles I've read. I've seen a lot of things saying it's going to be 100 basis points, but I think that would be a mistake. Alongside the lines of what Cathie Wood was saying, like I wouldn't completely agree with her. I think she went a bit off the rails a little bit, saying that we need to sort of. I think she was almost advocating for stimulus checks in that article right now, but yeah, I'd say 75 basis points at the moment. I think is what the market's priced in. I think somewhere between 75 and 100 is what they've priced in at the moment. In regards to September, the September meeting, I still think so. The market, I still expect the market to be pretty volatile until then, and I think that will be the last meeting where they'll be hawkish. So as I mentioned earlier, I do think inflation has peaked, and I think next month we'll see it go down. Well, not go down, but like a lower. Obviously, inflation will still be high, but a little bit lower, probably maybe 8.5 or maybe lower percent. And I think, so I think they'll probably do 50 basis points for then, and then at the November meeting, I think will be very telling about where they move. And because sort of looking into 2023, I think that's when they'll start. So like they'll start to go 25 basis points and maybe start skipping a month, that sort of thing. And then obviously that's when I expect sort of the recession to hit, and that's when I think they'll start bringing them down once supply supply chains have caught up, that sort of thing. But yeah, that was just my little thoughts about some of the financial market events in the last week or so. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a nice day.